I'm 28, male, and was with my girlfriend, Mia, 26, female, for just over 3 years. We met at this fundraiser for kids with cancer back in 2021. I was there donating proceeds from my trucking business, and she was handling the PR for the event. First impression? Straight up smoke show, like turn every head in the room hot. Not just physically, though she definitely had that going, but the way she commanded attention when she spoke, confident, articulate, with this laugh that made you feel like you were the funniest person alive when you caused it. A bit about me, I own a mid-sized logistics company. Started with one beat-up truck 8 years ago, working 20-hour days, sleeping in the cab to save money. Now I've got a fleet of 12 and 15 employees. No college degree, but I built this from nothing. Make solid 6 figures most years. Not fuck you money, but comfortable enough to take nice vacations and never worry about bills. I work hard, play hard, and value loyalty above pretty much everything. Mia was a marketing executive at this big corporate firm downtown. Master's degree from some fancy school, impressive title, the whole package. Always dressed like she stepped out of a magazine, not a hair out of place. When we started dating, I thought I'd hit the jackpot, beautiful, ambitious woman who seemed to appreciate how hard I worked. First couple of years were pretty great. I'm a simple guy with simple needs, good food, good company, and someone who appreciates the little things. I'd surprise her with weekend trips to the coast, remembering her favorite perfume brand, all that cliché romantic shit. My mom raised me right, treat your woman like gold, and she'll treat you like a king. That was always my philosophy. Mia loved gifts. Loved them. Designer purses, jewelry, fancy dinners at places where they don't even put prices on the menu. And I was happy to provide. When she had a bad day at work, I'd show up with her favorite takeout and a new pair of earrings. When she needed a new laptop, I bought the top-end MacBook without blinking. When her car broke down, I covered the $3,200 repair bill without hesitation. That's just who I am. I take care of my people. Times her friend Kate would be around when I dropped stuff off. Teacher, quiet type. She'd always thank me, even when Mia didn't, offer me a drink, maybe ask how work was going before disappearing into whatever room Mia had her waiting in. Seemed nice enough, just didn't stand out much next to Mia's big energy. Looking back, there were signs I missed. Like how, in the beginning, she'd post couple pics of us on her Instagram, but over time, it became just solo shots from our vacations. Vacations I paid for. Or how she'd introduce me to her college friends but never her work colleagues. Or how, when we went out to dinner with my buddies and their wives, she'd be on her phone half the time, clearly bored. There was this one time we were at this fancy steakhouse with my main client. A dude who gives me about 40% of my business. Great guy, salt-of-the-earth type who started his manufacturing company in his garage. During dinner, he was telling this story about hunting with his sons, and I noticed Mia texting under the table, this little smirk on her face. Later, I saw a text on her phone from her friend, "How's dinner with the hillbillies?" Mia had replied, "Kill me now. Jack's client just spent 20 minutes talking about gutting a deer." I confronted her about it in the car, and she got defensive. "It was gross, Jack, and you just sat there laughing like it was the funniest thing ever. That man's business pays for half the shit in our apartment," I reminded her. She rolled her eyes. "God, you're so sensitive." It was just a text to Diane. Not like I said it to his face. I let it go. Pick your battles, right? But looking back, that was the moment I should have seen who she really was. The biggest red flag, though? In 3 years, she never once brought me to any company event, not the Christmas parties, not the summer picnics, not the charity galas. Always had excuses. It's just going to be boring shop talk. It's only for employees. You wouldn't know anyone there. The tickets are limited this year. It's really just a networking event. I believed her because, well, why wouldn't I? She was my girl. I trusted her. When you love someone, you give them the benefit of the doubt, even when your gut is screaming at you. 2 months ago, Mia got promoted to senior marketing director. Big deal, with a fat raise, like a $30,000 bump, plus stock options. She was over the moon, talking about it for weeks. Her company was throwing this fancy dinner at some upscale steakhouse to celebrate her and a couple other execs who got bumped up. "Babe, can you believe it? All those years of ass-kissing finally paid off." She laughed while trying on dresses in our bedroom. "This opens up so many doors. VP track for sure now." "That's awesome, babe. I'm proud of you," I said, meaning it. Despite our issues, I genuinely wanted her to succeed. "When's the dinner? Should I rent a tux, or will my navy suit work?" She got this look, not quite an eye roll, but close. That micro-expression thing where someone's true feelings flash across their face before they can hide it. Contempt. That's what it was. Oh, it's just for the executive team and their spouses. Corporate politics, you know. I nodded, but something felt off. Their spouses can come, but I can't? Well, their spouses are, they're all part of that world. Lawyers, doctors, finance people. She didn't finish the thought, but I got it. Not truck drivers. I own a logistics company, I corrected her, feeling that familiar burn in my chest. I'm not out there driving the trucks myself. I know, babe, and I'm so proud of what you've built, she said, that PR smile firmly in place. It's just, these people are different. They'd talk about their summer homes in the Hamptons, and you'd be bored to tears. Trust me, I'm saving you from a miserable evening. I let it go, picked my battles, right? Over the next 2 weeks, she wouldn't stop talking about the dinner, how it was the biggest night of her career, how everything needed to be perfect, how her boss was flying in from the East Coast just to be there. Then came the asks. First, she needed a new outfit, something classy but bold, which ran me a few hundred. Then came the shoes, designer, of course on sale, she claimed. Hair and makeup, everyone's getting professionally styled. Finally, she hit me with a request to help cover the dinner reservation, around $500, framed as a small contribution because the company's paying most of it, but the promotees are expected to pitch in. Every ask came with the same line. It's like showing appreciation, she explained about the dinner contribution, like I'm acknowledging the investment they're making in me. I wrote the checks without complaint. That's what partners do, support each other. Plus, I was genuinely happy for her success. I remembered when I landed my first big contract, how validating it felt. Wanted her to have her moment. The night before the dinner, she was all nerves, trying on her outfit for the 10th time. Outfit probably cost more than my first transmission repair. You look amazing, I told her. They're going to be blown away. She smiled, but it didn't reach her eyes. Thanks. I just need everything perfect tomorrow. They bring in the CEO, and if I make a good impression, it could fast-track me to the executive committee. That night, I couldn't sleep. Got up for some water around 1 a.m. and overheard her on the phone in the bathroom, talking in that hushed voice people use when they don't want to be heard. No, he's fine with it. He doesn't even know where it is. Trust me, it's better this way. Last thing I need is him talking about truck routes while I'm trying to impress the CFO. I know, right? Can you imagine? This is my boyfriend. He's a real-life Smokey and the Bandit. Then she laughed. That same laugh that got me hooked 3 years ago, but now it was aimed at me. I pretended to be asleep when she came to bed, lay there for hours replaying every moment of our relationship, wondering how many other times she'd laughed at me behind my back. By morning, I was done playing along. Not angry, just clear. I wasn't going to argue, beg, or give her another dollar. I was going to remind her exactly who I was without raising my voice once. And I made a decision. I just wanted to see what these company events she always excluded me from were really like. Wanted to see her in her natural habitat, so to speak. I did some digging, found the restaurant online, this place called Embers, where they age the steaks for 60 days and need a reservation a month in advance. Called them, pretending to be confirming the corporate reservation details, got the time, the private room name, everything. Easy. That evening, Mia left at 6, all dolled up, kissing me goodbye. Don't wait up. It'll probably go late and there might be drinks after. I waited an hour, took a long shower, trimmed my beard to perfection, put on my best suit, the one I wear to sign major contracts, my grandfather's vintage watch, and drove downtown. Parked a block away from the restaurant, this place where steaks cost more than my first truck payment. Walked in casual, confident, straight shoulders, eye contact with the hostess, firm handshake. Told her I was joining the corporate party but running late. She led me right to them, no questions asked. Guess I can clean up pretty nice when I want to. I didn't make a scene, just took a seat at the bar area that had sightlines to their private dining room, ordered a club soda with lime, and watched. Mia was in her element, laughing, touching people's arms when they spoke, that social butterfly thing she does. I counted 20 people. All in expensive clothes, looking important. Her boss was this older dude with silver hair who kept parading Mia around like a prize pony. What struck me most was how different she seemed. Back home, she was always tired, often complaining about work, about her colleagues, about the pressure. Here, she was energized, eyes bright, gesturing animatedly as she told some story that had everyone at her table laughing. About an hour in, this younger guy in a blue suit came to the bar for drinks. He noticed me watching the room. You with the corporate group? He asked, friendly enough. Sort of, I replied. My girlfriend's in there, Mia. His eyebrows went up. Mia, the marketing wizard, you're dating Mia? I nodded, taking a sip of my club soda. 3 years now. That's wild. She never mentioned. He caught himself. I mean, congratulations on her promotion. Thanks, I said. Mind if I ask what she's like at work? She doesn't talk about it much. Blue Suit got chatty after a couple drinks, told me Mia was a shark in heels, ambitious, cutthroat, always working angles to climb higher, but respected. Definitely respected. She's basically the reason we landed the Westfield account, he said. Worked 80-hour weeks, outmaneuvered our competitors. Boss loves her. She work closely with the team? Make friends at the office? I asked, trying to sound casual. He shrugged. She's selective with her time, doesn't really do the happy hour thing unless higher-ups are there. Then he grinned, though there was that Christmas party last year. Man, your girl can dance. Christmas party. The one she told me was canceled due to budget cuts. You should come meet everyone, he suggested. They'd love to meet Mia's boyfriend. She's always so private about her personal life. Before I could answer, he was leading me over. We walked into the private room, and heads turned. Mia was mid-laugh with some woman when she saw me. The smile dropped from her face like it was made of stone. Jack, she said, my name sounding foreign in her mouth. Blue Suit, whose name was Tom, I learned, slapped my shoulder. Found your boyfriend at the bar. Can't believe you've been hiding him for 3 years. The awkward silence lasted about 2 seconds before Mia recovered, plastering that PR smile back on. Oh no, there's a misunderstanding. She laughed, high-pitched. Jack's not my boyfriend. I kept my face neutral, waiting. Part of me still hoping she'd introduce me properly, say, this is my partner, Jack, or something. Give me some dignity. He's just my driver for tonight. My car is in the shop. I literally froze. Driver. Not boyfriend. Not partner. Funny thing was, the cufflinks I wore that night. A gift from her 2 Christmases ago, engraved with "To My Rock." And there I was, suddenly just the guy who drove her there. Nah, that moment broke something I didn't even realize I'd been holding on to. Tom looked confused, but she cut him off. Jack likes to joke around, don't you, Jack? As I stood there processing it, still keeping my cool, she leaned in real close, with that fake PR smile still plastered on, and said under her breath, just loud enough for me to hear, you should be grateful I even let you in. That was it, right there. The switch flipped. That wasn't just disrespect. It was her telling me straight to my face I was beneath her, after everything I gave, paid for, and stood by. That was her takeaway. Everyone was staring now. The silver-haired boss, the woman Mia had been laughing with, all these strangers in expensive clothes looking at me like I was some weirdo crashing their party. I had 2 options, blow it up, or walk out like a man who doesn't beg for respect. I picked the second. I looked her dead in the eye and said, calm as hell. Truck's waiting out front when you're done. She blinked, like I just snatched the script out of her hands. Then I turned to the room, gave a nod, and added, congrats on the promotions. Enjoy the night. I walked out, head high, finished my soda at the bar, left a tip that probably outclassed half the room, and drove off with 0 regrets. On the drive, I called my buddy Steve. Hey man, can I crash at your place tonight? Everything all right? He asked. Not really. Tell you when I get there. Went home, packed a bag with essentials, left Mia's key on the counter with a note, found my own ride home. Staying at Steve's for a few days. We need to talk, but not tonight. Then I drove to Steve's place, crashed on his couch and told him everything. Good dude that he is, he just listened, didn't judge, offered me his guest room. For as long as you need it. First thing I did after dropping my bag was cancel every card Mia had access to. Shared subscriptions? Gone. Her car insurance I was paying? Cut off. Spotify family plan? Down to a party of 1. I wasn't just walking, I was deleting every thread that tied us together. Mia blew up my phone that night. Call after call, voicemail after voicemail, each one more desperate than the last. A few texts popped up that I actually read. Where are you? Call me. Are you seriously this upset over a joke? I'm sorry, okay? Please just talk to me. I didn't respond to any of them, turned my phone off and got the first decent night's sleep I'd had in months. Woke up to sunlight and the smell of coffee. Steve's wife, Jen, had made breakfast. She didn't ask questions, just squeezed my shoulder and said, eat. Everything's better with a full stomach. After breakfast, I turned my phone back on. 16 more missed calls from Mia, 3 from numbers I didn't recognize, probably her friends. I texted her, I'm fine, staying at Steve's. We'll talk tomorrow, don't come here. Then I spent the day helping Steve work on his project car. This 67 Mustang he's been restoring for like 3 years. Mindless mechanical work, exactly what I needed. Then Mia showed up anyway. Steve answered the door. Is Jack here? I heard her ask, that PR voice in full effect. I've been so worried. He doesn't want to see you right now, Steve said firmly. He said he'll talk to you tomorrow. I just want to explain. He said tomorrow, Steve repeated, then closed the door. I could hear her yelling outside for a few minutes, then the sound of tires squealing as she drove off. The next day, I went home around noon, knowing Mia would be at work. Grabbed more clothes, my laptop, important documents. Left her another note with a time to meet at a coffee shop near our place. Public setting, neutral ground. She was already there when I arrived, makeup perfect despite her red-rimmed eyes. She stood up when she saw me, tried to hug me. I stepped back. Jack, thank God, I've been going crazy worrying about you. I sat down. Let's skip the drama, Mia. 3 years, and I'm just your driver? It was a stupid joke. I panicked. Tom caught me off guard. You weren't caught off guard. You were ashamed of me, have been for a long time. That's not true, she protested, but her eyes said otherwise. Christmas party, I said flatly. The one you said was canceled. The charity gala in March, the one you said was employees only. That blue suit Tom mentioned bringing his girlfriend to the company picnic where spouses were specifically invited that you conveniently forgot to tell me about. She looked cornered. Those events aren't as fun as they sound. Drop it, I cut in. I heard the call. Last thing I need is him talking about truck routes while I'm trying to impress the CFO. Ring any bells? Her face dropped. I was stressed. I didn't mean. You meant it, I said, steady. And here's the thing. It's not about you being ashamed of me. That's your insecurity to carry, not mine. She opened her mouth, trying to form something soft. You know I care. We live together. Yeah, I leaned back. Then name one thing about me that isn't surface level. She froze, blinked. Nothing. Exactly, I said 3 years and you never really saw me, just what I could cover for you. She tried again, voice cracking. That's not fair. We all are, I said flatly. The difference is, I never made you small to feel big, and I left her with that. You don't understand the pressure I'm under, she said, voice trembling. These people aren't like you. They judge everything. Who you date, what schools you went to, what your parents do, and I don't measure up. That's not what I'm saying. But her face said otherwise. Look, in that world, appearances matter. You don't have a degree. You drive trucks for a living. I own a trucking company, I corrected her, voice still level. I employ 15 people. I make more money than half those suits in there. She sighed like I was missing the point. It's not about money, Jack. It's about fitting in. You don't understand how it feels. Dating someone with no degree in a room full of MBAs. They'd never take me seriously. I'd had enough. She doesn't get it. Even when I'm addressing the issue, she still disrespects me. 3 years of my life spent with someone who was ashamed of me, who saw me as something to hide, who took my money, my time, my love, but thought I should be grateful to even be in her orbit. I think we're done here, I said, standing up. What? Jack, no, please, we can work on this. I'll do better. I'll bring you to work events, I promise. Too late, I said. I'll be by tomorrow with Steve to get the rest of my stuff. You can keep the apartment until the lease is up in 2 months. I'll pay my half of the rent. After that, you're on your own. Where will you go? She asked, voice small. Not your problem anymore. As I walked away, she called after me. You're making a mistake. 3 years, Jack. Are you really throwing away 3 years over one stupid comment? I turned back. Nah, I'm walking away from being the guy who funded your lifestyle but wasn't worth acknowledging in public. That's what I'm walking away from. I left her crying in the coffee shop, blocked her number before I even got to my truck. A week later, I was settling into a small apartment Steve's cousin was renting out. Nothing fancy, but clean and affordable. Started throwing myself into work, hitting the gym more often, reconnecting with friends I'd neglected while with Mia. One afternoon, I was grabbing lunch at this deli near my office when someone tapped my shoulder. Turned around to find Kate standing there with a hesitant smile. Hey, Jack, she said, shifting her weight. I heard what happened. Wanted to check if you're okay. I'm getting there, I replied, surprised to see her. Want to join me? Over lunch, Kate told me Mia had made me out to be the jealous boyfriend who couldn't handle her success. But she'd known Mia since they were kids, and said this wasn't the first time Mia twisted the truth to suit herself. She believed I deserved better than being reduced to someone's driver after 3 years together when the first asked if Mia had always been like that. Kate said status had always mattered to her. Back in high school, she even dropped a friend because her dad lost his job. I asked why she stayed friends with someone like that, and she just shrugged, saying it was history. Mia could be incredibly charming when it served her, and for someone like Kate who didn't make friends easily, that charm had kept her around longer than it should have. We talked for almost 2 hours. Turns out, Kate had been on the receiving end of Mia's superiority complex too. Little digs about Kate's modest teacher salary, comments about how Kate could do better with her looks if she just tried harder, the way Mia would use Kate as a backup plan, then ditch her when better options came along. Remember Mia's birthday last year, that trip to the beach house? Kate asked. I nodded. I'd paid for the rental, 3 bedrooms for Mia, me, and 4 of her friends. She made me sleep on the couch, Kate said quietly. Said the rooms were for couples only, even though I was supposed to share with her single friend Lisa. Then Lisa brought some guy back and got the room. Why'd you put up with it? Kate shrugged. Same reason you did, probably. When you care about someone, you make excuses for them. Before she left, Kate handed me a book. Can't Hurt Me by David Goggins. It helped me through some tough times, she explained. Thought it might help you too. That conversation with Kate was the first time since the restaurant incident that I felt truly seen, not as Mia's boyfriend or some guy with a truck business, but as a person with real feelings and experiences. Over the next few weeks, Kate and I started texting occasionally. Nothing flirty, just checking in. How's the new place? Did you finish that book? My students asked about the trucks today. Told them about your business. Meanwhile, Mia alternated between rage and bargaining. She'd create new email addresses to bypass my blocks, sometimes calling me an asshole for embarrassing her, then declaring her undying love in the next message. When those went unanswered, she started sending mutual friends to plead her case. She's a mess, man, my buddy Mike reported after running into her at a bar, crying, saying she made the biggest mistake of her life. I stayed firm, packed the last of my stuff from our old place with Steve's help, left my key on the counter, closed that chapter. About a month after the breakup, Kate texted me on a Friday, having a small get-together tomorrow. Board games and pizza at my place, nothing fancy. Want to come? I accepted, figuring it would be good to be around people who weren't connected to the Mia drama. When I arrived at Kate's cozy apartment, I was surprised to find just 4 other people there, 2 couples, all teachers from her school. No big crowd to hide in, but it was nice, relaxed. We played Catan, laughed about ridiculous school stories, ate too much pizza. Nobody asked about my degree or made snide comments about my job. When I mentioned a challenge with a new route my drivers were handling, they asked thoughtful questions. Around midnight, the others left, and I stayed to help clean up. I thanked Kate for the invite, telling her I hadn't realized how much I needed it. She smiled and said, "It was nice seeing you laugh again." Although my soul felt cold and hollow, like nothing could really reach me, something about the way she said it made me pause. Look at her. Really look at her. Not as Mia's friend Kate, but as her own person. She was wearing jeans and a simple green sweater that matched her eyes, hair pulled back in a messy bun. Nothing fancy, but she looked beautiful. "What?" she asked, noticing my gaze. "Nothing," I said, shaking my head. "Just realizing some things." "Like what?" "Like how sometimes what you need has been right in front of you, but you were too distracted to notice." She blushed slightly. "Jack, sorry," I backpedaled. "That was too much. I should go." She caught my arm as I turned. "It wasn't too much, it's just complicated. You're fresh out of a relationship with my friend." "Ex-friend," I corrected. "Still, I don't want to be your rebound." I nodded. "Fair enough. Friends, then?" "Friends," she agreed with a smile. But as I drove home that night, I couldn't stop thinking about her smile, her laugh, the way she listened, really listened, when people talked. 2 days later, Kate mentioned her car was acting up, so I spent Sunday afternoon replacing her brake pads in the parking lot. When I finished, we sat on the curb with cold drinks talking. She asked why I stayed with Mia so long, and I admitted it was easier to keep going than face what wasn't working. She said I deserved someone who was proud to be with me. Something shifted between us in that moment, but we left it unspoken. After that, we started spending more time together, just friends, though we both felt the unspoken tension growing. About 2 months after the breakup, I was working late when my receptionist buzzed. Mia was there, said it was urgent. I hadn't seen her since the coffee shop. She walked in, looking different. Same designer clothes, but shorter hair, toned-down makeup, and an awkward stance in the doorway. "Nice office," she said, looking around at the maps on the walls, the industry awards on my shelves. "I've never been here before." "What do you want, Mia?" I asked, not getting up. She took a deep breath. "I talked to my therapist about what happened, about how I treated you. She helped me see some things." "You're in therapy?" I couldn't hide my surprise. "Started a few weeks ago, after everything." She sat down across from me. "I've been doing a lot of thinking about why I was so ashamed to introduce you to my work friends. Why I lied about all those events. My whole life I've been taught that success means a certain kind of man. My mother always said I should find a doctor, a lawyer, someone with credentials she could brag about to her friends. When I brought home a guy who worked at a record store in college, she said I was selling myself short. I listened, face neutral. When I met you, I was attracted to your confidence, your drive. You were so different from the corporate guys I usually dated. But I never fully shook those messages, that you weren't the right kind of successful." She looked away. "I know how awful that sounds." "It does," I agreed. Then she started in with the whole "I compartmentalized my life" thing, like somehow splitting me from her career ambitions made everything okay. Said she missed me, was miserable without me, wanted another shot. Typical too little too late talk. I looked at her, the same woman who called me her driver. "Sure, I believe you're sorry," I said, leaning back, "and good luck with therapy, but nah, we're done. Some shit just can't be undone." Her face tightened. "This about Kate?" I tilted my head. "Why you suddenly care? I've seen you two at the park, the mall. Your truck was at her place late." I just shrugged, and she blinked. "Did you even wait a month before sleeping with my friend?" I stood up, calm as ever. "Mia, what I do now is none of your business. You made that clear when you introduced me as your driver in front of your whole executive team. Funny how a guy who talks about truck routes suddenly matters so much to you." She was getting heated. "Kate's jealous. She's just using you to get back at me." I laughed. "If anyone's got a reason to get back at you, it's Kate, for making her crash on a couch during a trip I paid for. But she's not like you. She actually sees me, listens, respects me. You had 3 years and never did either of those things." She stood up, practically shaking. "This isn't over." "It's been over," I said, heading for the door. "You just didn't notice because everything's always been about you." She stormed out so hard one of my plaques fell off the wall. I didn't even flinch, just grabbed my phone and called Kate. Mia just dropped by my office. Apparently I'm not allowed to move on with her friend. "You good?" Kate asked. "Yeah, she's unraveling. Mind if I come by? Dinner's already in the works," she said, "and hey, just so you know, I've always been proud of you. That right there, that's the difference." A month after Mia's office ambush, I was signing a major contract with a national shipping company. Biggest deal of my career, doubled the size of my business overnight. The kind of contract that changes everything. I'd been working toward this for years, putting together the perfect pitch, demonstrating our reliability with smaller contracts, building relationships. When the CEO shook my hand and said, "We're looking forward to a long partnership, Jack," I felt something I hadn't experienced in a long time, pure, uncomplicated pride. No one to impress, no one to prove myself to, just satisfaction in what I'd built. Kate was the first person I called. That night she made steak, lit candles, played music, so thoughtful. Over dessert she admitted she'd had feelings for me for a long time, even back when I was with Mia, but never acted on them. Said she didn't want to just be the friend who helped me through a breakup. I leaned in and kissed her. No pressure, just something that felt real. She asked about Mia, more curious than concerned. I told her I didn't give a shit anymore. She nodded, said they hadn't spoken since the breakup, and that Mia's last message wasn't worth replying to. That was that. Kate stayed over that night, and most nights after, 2 days after that first night together, my phone rang with an unknown number. I almost ignored it, thinking it might be MIA with yet another new number, but something told me to answer. "Jack, this is Richard." We met briefly at Embers a few months back. I was hoping we could meet to discuss a business opportunity. Richard, Mia's silver-haired boss from the dinner. What the hell? I needed to see what he's up to, so we met for lunch at a steakhouse near his office. He was straightforward. "Our current shipping partner is consistently late, losing packages and generally becoming a liability. I remembered you mentioned owning a logistics company. I looked into your operation after that night and was impressed by your track record." "How'd you know it was my company?" I asked. He smiled slightly and said that after that interesting dinner, he'd gotten curious, looked into me, and found out I wasn't just some driver but the guy running the whole operation. Said the reviews and track record spoke for themselves. We spent an hour talking business and outlined the basics of a deal. As we wrapped up, Richard mentioned Mia was no longer with the company. Said her behavior that night raised concerns about her judgment. I kept it neutral, told him I didn't wish her harm, but wasn't exactly torn up about it. He nodded and said he always felt she underestimated me. It was obvious, even in those few minutes, that she didn't see my worth. We shook hands, and I left with a potential new client and the strange satisfaction of knowing the universe occasionally delivers justice on its own. Last I heard, Mia moved to another city for a fresh start. She tried calling me a few times before she left, but I never picked up. Got a long email about how sorry she was, how she'd made a terrible mistake, how she'd always loved me. I didn't respond. Some bridges stay burned. She found out about Kate and me through social media. Kate had posted a picture of us hiking. Nothing provocative, just two happy people on a mountain. Mia sent a final text, "I guess it all worked out for you two. Hope you're both very happy with yourselves." I blocked that number too. Kate and I have been together 8 months now. She's moving in officially next week, though most of her stuff is already here. Her second-grade students drew pictures of trucks for her to bring to my office. They're hanging in frames on my wall right next to my business license, worth more to me than any fancy degree. My company's expanding, hired 5 more drivers, added 3 trucks to the fleet, looking at opening a second hub in the neighboring state. Kate's been amazing through it all, celebrating the wins, helping me think through the challenges, reminding me to take breaks when I'm working too hard. Sometimes I think back to that moment in the restaurant, when Mia called me her driver. As humiliating as it was also the wake-up call I needed. It forced me to see what had been happening for years, that I was with someone who wasn't just wrong for me, but actively ashamed of me. If she hadn't been so blatant about it that night, who knows how many more years I might have wasted. How much more money I'd have poured into her endless demands. How many more times I'd have swallowed my pride when she made subtle digs at my career or education. Sometimes the universe kicks you in the teeth to wake you up. Most guys reading this probably know what I'm talking about. That gut feeling when something's off, but you can't quite name it, the subtle digs that leave you feeling like you're not enough, the constant need to prove your worth. If you're experiencing that, get out. Life's too short to be with someone who makes you feel small. Sometimes the best revenge isn't some elaborate scheme. It's just living well and finding someone who's proud to stand beside you, someone who introduces you as her boyfriend, not her effing driver.